How's it going, everyone? This is Isaiah, and I welcome you to my drafting table. I've been wanting to do vlogs more consistently lately, and it's just been something that has been fairly difficult for me to do because I just stay really busy making comics all the time, and sometimes it can be very difficult to set aside the time to stand in front of the camera and record things for a while. But there's a lot of things that I've been wanting to talk about. Some things related towards making comics, other things about like dorky things that I watch, like movies, anime, and that kind of stuff. And I figured, what better way to do this than to just vlog while I'm working on comics. So that's what you're seeing here today, and that's pretty much how I'm going to be doing things from now on. A lot of times, what I talk about might not be completely related to what I'm drawing, mostly because since I have a handful of different projects that I kind of have to work on, it's very hard for me to try to draw something that's related to something that I'm going to talk about all the time. So you can kind of expect this kind of thing, and I don't know, it might be fun. You guys let me know in the comments what you think about it. One thing that I've always really wanted to do was talk about kind of the experience of making comics, some of the things that I think about when I'm writing or drawing comics. And while I've been working on this page today, I figured that it would be a good time to try to start this whole process of vlogging over working on comics because there's a lot of things about this page in particular that I found to be very challenging, and I kind of wanted to talk about it. This may be a little weird for anyone who doesn't have the context of reading Transyltown, which, by the way, by all means, go to transyltown.com and read the comic because I worked really hard on making it. I hope that you guys can enjoy it. That's my little plug. I'll probably plug things a lot as I do this kind of thing. But anyways, the thing that was really challenging about this page is that there's a lot of transitions to different scenes in just a single page. I'm going from, let's see here, 1, 2, 3. I changed scenes 3 times, um, and I was trying to wrap my brain around whether or not that was something that I wanted to do in a single page, or if I should split these things up among some other pages. The thing is that with webcomics, I try to have quite a bit of content in a single page because Transyltown here updates once a week, so I kind of want to get quite a few beats going on in a single page without making it feel too cluttered, and I was worried that changing scenes like I do here on this page might make things a little cluttered, and I sat around and I tried to rewrite what this page was going to be, and I just felt that this is what I had to do. And that's just an experience that you have sometimes as a writer, and I don't know how I'm going to feel about that in the future, but it's always worth it to try something like this. So in this page, we have our characters here. This guy over here in this first panel, his name is Norman, and he's a creature called a creeper, and he can hop into other dimensions by going into enclosed spaces. So he's in this dimension here, and he's hopping through a locker to get back into the boys' locker room, and there's a conversation that happens from there. And when he exits, we're changing scenes to the girls' locker room because there's a conversation going on in there, and then I go right back into this world in between the lockers again to reveal something else for a nice little stinger at the end of the page. And one of the things that I wanted to think about, or one of the challenges that I had with this page was coming up with a way to cleanly go about these transitions without spending a whole lot of time or space doing establishment shots over and over again, or affecting the pacing of the dialogue that's going on while these transitions are happening. Um, and especially one of the major challenges about the situation is that I go from the boys' locker room to the girls' locker room, and they both look very similar. And I'll just walk you guys through a bit about my thought process about these various different transitions. So we start off right here in panel 1 with Norman inside of the world, inside the lockers. And I felt that a good way to just transition back towards the boys' locker room was just to show him going through one of the lockers and then appearing in the boys' dressing room. Um, Especially since I believe the last space on the last page, I'll have to double check, was inside of the locker world. Yeah, it was. So we're starting off from the scene that we were already at last time, and then we're going to a very clean transition through a bit of action towards the little boys' locker room. And then here, when this scene is finalizing and I want to switch to the girls' locker room, I certainly didn't want to use the same kind of shot, and I wanted to make it feel as if a little bit of time has passed, and so I added this panel of just the exterior of the girls' locker room, showing the little classic icon for women's before going into the locker room, so that you can feel as if this might be a different place, especially since they look very similar. So I felt that I needed some clean way to say that these were two very different places, because if I just cut to Alicia and Veronica here, I just felt as if it would feel like they were in the same area as Timmy, Norman, and Quinn here, and that just was not the case. And then this transition back to the world in between the lockers, I decided to transition there through dialogue. So Alicia and Veronica here are having this conversation about the creepers that are lurking in the other world. And as she's mentioning that there's another creeper, then I cut back to the world in between the lockers again. And so just in this single page where I had to go through several different scenes here, I came up with different ways to go about the transition to make those each feel fresh in their own way. I still feel a bit that maybe I crammed a little bit too much in this page, but I also feel that these were all the beats that I wanted to handle here. So you guys that read Transyltown, by all means, let me know how you feel about this, or anyone in particular. Go check out transyltown.com. This page will be up this week by the time you see this video, most likely. And just let me know how you feel about that. As a web cartoonist, comics are always going to be a growing experience for me, and I always want to hear back about how people feel about my pacing and storytelling, because I know, even looking back at some of the pages I've done before in the past, I'm not always 100% happy with what I do, and sometimes situations like this, I'm kind of forced to experiment and be a little bit more creative than usual. And that's a very fun thing to do, but it can also be fairly apprehensive, like just considering, is this readable enough? And that's really one of the things that you have to be concerned about when you're a comic book artist, is the readability of your pages and the transitions that you use, because at the end of the day, this is something that people are going to read, and you want to make sure that their experience, they're not kicked out of their immersion of their comic reading experience by something that may be difficult for them to understand. Other than that, I've been watching Dragon Ball Super. I'm actually really excited that Dragon Ball is back. I feel like I'm in like high school again or something. Except now I don't have to skip band practice to go rush home and watch Dragon Ball. So Dragon Ball Super has been really exciting. And for the first time, I actually find myself really interested in Vegeta. Vegeta was not always a character that I liked in Dragon Ball, just because I always thought that he was a jerk, and I usually just don't like characters like that. It's not to say that like Vegeta's a bad character or anything, because I think he's a well-written character, and he's actually very plot-wise, he actually moves things very interestingly, and he's very interesting for the story. He's just not my cup of tea. I think he's a very terrible person. and I'm always really down for like good guys and stuff like that. But I'm really interested in Vegeta with Dragon Ball Super now because the end of Z, he really changes a lot. Like you really feel that he believes in Goku. In the past, his experiences with Goku has always been very negative. So I'm interested in seeing how this starts to play off. It'll be a very different take on the classic rivalry. Other than that, like I found the first two episodes of Dragon Ball Super to be exceptionally charming. Which it's very fun to see Dragon Ball get to that kind of storytelling again because with like Dragon Ball Z we spent entire episodes watching long exhausting fights, but there was always a heart to the series, and I'm glad to see the series get back to that kind of thing. And like I said before, I'm just really excited to see what happens next. So that's what's been up with me this week, and thanks a lot, you guys, for hanging out over at my drafting table with me. There'll certainly be more of these more often, and if you want to support me, go check me out on Patreon. There will be a link at the bottom of the video here, and you can also read my two webcomics, Transyltown and Crackers and White Wine at brasscomics.com. There'll also be a link down there too, as well as to a couple of other things that I've got going on right now too. So thanks a lot, guys, and we'll see you next time.